At the beginning of your speech, you kept referring to this fear that all of Americans hold with them, and it came off as that you're saying that it's our fault that the economy is failing. How can you explain that to somebody who unfortunately is laid off and doesn't have any money to spend on the economy?
Well, it is not necessarily their fault. It's just a fear that, in general, I'm sure we all feel like that something bad will happen and we won't have the money to spend or to fix it. And it's everyone's fault. It's not just that single person's fault for their current condition that they're in. Megan?
You also said before in the beginning of your speech you would get us to a secure and comfortable lifestyle. Can you please define a secure and comfortable lifestyle?
A secure and comfortable lifestyle is one where you do not have to worry simply about what your next paycheck will be like or if you will make it till next month. Is that the same question?
Yeah.
Okay. Kim?
How will you assure that banks will give out more loans?
Well, that is a difficult one because they are in charge of their own money. Right now, I think the best thing that we can do is actually put more pressure on them. Right now, they expect people, when giving out loans, that they have perfect credit. And I think that they should be more realistic with their credit. I mean, we are giving banks money at 0% interest rate right now. So we should put more pressure on them because we're basically giving them free money right now. So they do owe us something. Reese?
As you may know, there are a lot of companies, very large-scale companies, such as Google or Apple or Microsoft, that have their companies offshore from the United States. And because of that, that makes them not, they don't have to pay the taxes as normal companies do in America. So what would you do to really bring those companies back to America or try to penalize them, or what would you do for that?
Well, I cannot say that we can necessarily bring them back to America. I mean, they're able to make cheap products there, and when we buy them back, I mean, it's cheaper for us. And I cannot necessarily say that they have to come back. That is their choice. But we can influence companies to stay in America. For example, I know some companies in Delaware, the state gives them tax credits for not moving their jobs overseas.
So are you promoting companies taking their jobs to other countries? And by saying that you give tax cuts to companies that stay in America, that's not going to help the economy either, because you were just talking about getting rid of the tax cuts to those who go around it.
Yeah, well, we are certainly not promoting companies to stay over there. We would love for them to come back. That would definitely stimulate our economy. But unfortunately, like I said, we can't force them to come back. I mean, we can try to get them to come back. And also, tax credits are given by the state government. So that is up to that state government where that company resides, and the company can choose to accept it or they cannot. Peter?
Some loopholes that there are, like tax loopholes, for example, donating to a charity is also a tax loophole,
Yes.
which supports fellow Americans. And then another tax hole is, or a tax loop is buying a new vehicle for your business, so which creates jobs, creates money into the economy. So how can you say that you're going to close these loopholes when they are helping our economy and helping our fellow Americans?
Well, first of all, we said we would close some loopholes. We would not close we would still let them donate to charity. The thing is, they say that they create jobs, but there are other ways to create jobs too. And our argument is that they still need to pay taxes up to what people pay. For example, if you are an owner of a company, you can not get a salary from them, but say you were investing and then get dividends from them. And they're paying now at the fiscal cliff a 20% tax rate. So what we want to do is we want to increase it to a 25% tax rate, which is about the average tax rate for lower class Americans. So our plan is that they have to tax. We still need to tax them because it is unfair that they are getting below, but they will still be able to create jobs. But it's like our argument against their argument.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain it further?
No, that's good.
Okay. Reese?
There are many wealthy individuals in America that have their money in foreign banks, such as Sweden. However, they've been now accused of having it being done illegal, because once they were doing this, their they don't have to pay the same interest rates or taxes that Americans have to here.
Mhm.
So what would you do to really fix that? Or
Well, as you know, that's actually a serious problem because they are then getting taxed at the rates of the government where they put their money in. So one solution, how we could approach it, is we could tax them and have them pay a percentage of their earnings no matter where their money is, if they are an American citizen. But to do that first we have to know where their money is located. So that would be, we definitely need to fix that loophole, but that is one of the more difficult ones, but we will definitely focus on it. Megan?
So you were talking about how you need to put more pressure on the banks. Well, my mom has been a banker her entire life, and she's currently a regional credit manager. And trust me, she feels the pressure from the government. And she does look into credit, like that's what she's supposed to do.
Yeah.
How is she going to be able to trust a company who has bad credit if she's not going to give them money? So how is that going to help the company get better if she doesn't feel trustworthy of it?
So you're saying if they have bad credit,
Yeah, how is the bank supposed to be trustworthy? Like, they
well,
won't put their money in that company.
like in that case with your mom, she is not, if they have bad credit, I'm not saying we should start giving out loans like we did in early 2000 and just kind of give out loans to anyone. I'm just saying, right now we expect perfect credit. For example, my sister and her fiance were going to buy a house and they do not have perfect credit because they're younger. And they would not give them a loan, so my parents had to co-sign on it. I'm saying they just need to be more realistic with their loans. They don't necessarily have to lower their standards, but just, if the person has had a good solid credit, be more realistic. I'm not saying that she has to give it out to that company with bad credit.
2 more questions.
You mentioned increasing capital gains tax to 25%, but how do you plan to encourage average everyday Americans, not business owners, to invest in our economy if nearly a quarter of their money is being taken away?
Well, that is a good question. Many people who are more wealthy tend to invest more, and I know it will hurt those who do, average Americans who do invest, and it's kind of like a give and take. Those who are more wealthy are investing more. For example, Warren Buffett has said that he's a big investor, we all know that, and he is getting taxed at a lower rate than the secretary. So hopefully it'll balance out. The more investments that the wealthy have, the more they're taxed. More money will come from them too.
1 more.
Peter?
When you were talking to Megan, you said that you're going to have banks make it easier way to get loans,
Yeah.
and also you said that you want lower interest rates on those kind of loans. So how are you ensure that banks don't go bankrupt, and how would you keep banks out of trouble?
We're not saying that banks should lower their interest rates on the loans that they give out, but they do have the opportunity to. With the easy money policy, the Federal Reserve lets cash flow build up in banks so that they have the opportunity to loan out more. So in that way, they don't necessarily have to lower the interest rates on the people they're loaning the money out to, but the government is lowering the interest rates on giving money to the banks. And what was your first question?
It was you're saying to Megan that it'll be easier for people with not perhaps bad credit, but not as great credit to get bank loans. How will you ensure that people won't take advantage of the system and the bank won't go under or cause trouble?
Well, the main problem right now is we don't have enough money circulating in our economy. All the money is built up in the banks right now. Because we're giving them money at such low interest rates, a lot of money is still in the banks. So by being more realistic, we will get more money circulating. But again, we can't lower our standards because we can't return to this in 10 years, the place that we are at right now. So it is being more realistic, but being picky.